Hey everybody, what is going on? Dr. Chad Woolner here, and this is episode 7 of the Health Fundamentals Podcast. And on today's episode, we have a special guest, my good friend, Dr. Matt Ogle.
Hey everybody.
He is going to be sharing some secrets with us about how to fix colic naturally. So let's get started. You're listening to the Health Fundamentals Podcast. I'm Dr. Chad Woolner.
And I'm Dr. Buddy Allen. And this show is about giving you the simple but powerful cutting-edge tools you need to change your health and your life.
So sit back and enjoy the show as we show you the path to your best life down to a science. So hey everybody, we are super excited about today's episode. My good friend, Dr. Matt Ogle, he is going to be sharing something really valuable with you guys, a really unfortunately common problem that I think far too often parents feel like they don't have a lot of options for, and that is parents who struggle with a colicky baby. Mm-hmm. And so, Dr. Matt, maybe give them a little bit of a background as to how you kind of got started in this arena in the first place, and maybe we can kind of go from there.
Sure. Yeah. Me and my wife learned firsthand pretty quickly what it was like to have a baby that struggled with symptoms of colic. And the definition of colic for some people varies. Some people think colic is like, oh, my baby cries for 10 minutes or my baby, they spit up a lot. But really all of these things kind of make up colic. Babies that are inconsolable, that struggle with sleep issues, that are fussiness, that are refluxing or spitting up a lot. We noticed with our first son that he was dealing with that a lot. There was a lot of birth trauma, from labor and delivery. And so we think we know that kind of led to it. But, for him, I think the struggle for us, the struggle was realizing we need to do something, right?
And that's maybe part of the challenge for parents too, is because there are oftentimes a wide range or variety of different symptoms. Mm-hmm. And so that can sometimes create a little bit of confusion in terms of where do we even begin.
Sure. Yeah.
If you're dealing with
crying,
fussiness, achiness, reflux problems, et cetera, gas, bloating, all that stuff. And so for parents, oftentimes that can create sometimes a little bit of additional stress in that they're not quite sure what to tackle first or how to tackle all of these things all at once.
Well, sure.
Are they related? Are they, how are they all connected, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. And what do you do? Like you go to Google and you find so many different things that you do, or you read that there's something that is way different about your baby, or, your baby has colic, but you end up thinking that they've got X, Y, and Z, and start treating the wrong things.
Go down all these different rabbit holes,
That's
right?
Frustrating even more.
And that's one of the things we talk about on this podcast, honestly, is that the challenge these days is it's not that we're at a lack of information. Mm-hmm. It's that what do you do with the information that's there? How do we make sense of it? How do we create greater clarity? Back in the day, it used to be that getting information was not nearly as easy or accessible, even in our lifetime,
Oh, sure, yeah.
We watched that show, The Goldbergs. Have you ever watched that show, TV show? It's really funny. It takes place in the 80s, and they were having this debate about what actor, did Val Kilmer play in, what movie? Anyways, they were saying Val Kilmer played in a movie, and they're like, what's awesome is we can go to the library and we can go through their file index and we can look and we can get microfiche, and then we can do this. Technology is awesome. We'll be able to find out within a couple hours whether or not Val Kilmer played in this movie or whatever. And the whole point is obviously tongue-in-cheek funny, because these days, with a quick search, of a button, mm-hmm. you'll be able to get answers at your fingertips. But again, it's not necessarily the quantity of information that's the problem. It's the quality, and how do we sift through that and get that information, And so there you guys are struggling with a colicky baby.
Right.
What happened?
Well, it seemed like, we were trying everything, right? Long car rides, swings, and anything to try to help him. He dealt with a lot of reflux, and so, and also sleep issues. So I'd take him on long car rides to just try to get him to calm down. And I remember driving one night, I was literally gone for like an hour, and he was just screaming the whole time. And so for a parent, you just hurt, right? And it's frustrating. And you just feel like just sitting there and crying and just giving up in a way, but you can't. And so you continue on, and you just kind of grin and bear it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we were at. And every path that we went down, like we had taken him to the pediatrician and a couple different doctors actually, and everything that, like, the dead end was prescription medication.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research about prescription medication specifically for babies that are dealing with colic and reflux now that came out just, like last April.
Yeah.
That is just astounding as to long-term complications or side effects, including like allergies. Like, you're 250% more likely to have asthma and allergies and things like that. And so when we hit that roadblock of like prescription medication at that time, we were like, we don't want to do this. Like,
yeah.
I remember filling the prescription and putting it in the fridge and just letting it sit there. And both me and my wife were like, we're not giving this to him. Like, we're not going to do that, you know? So we just kept hitting that wall, prescription of prescription. Yeah.
And meanwhile, you were in practice, chiropractor. You had a heavy emphasis focusing a lot on pregnant women and children and helping them.
Yeah. Our practice is primarily prenatal and pediatric as far as the focus. We see everybody, but that's really our focus because I think because of my experience, right? Like with my family and with my wife and helping her through her pregnancies, and then also my kids.
Yeah. I've often said that we find our greatest passion through our greatest pain.
Yeah.
So sometimes in life, those experiences that we have, as difficult and as painful as they may be, they serve a real powerful purpose in helping us to really find our path, And so since then you've, I guess if you can, if you're able to, how did you kind of discover your process? Cause you definitely have a unique approach to helping parents, fix colic problems, right? Well, and I guess even a better question first, before we even go down that road is it possible to fix colic without drugs?
Absolutely it is.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. We see this all the time. So absolutely. Can we do this without prescription medication? Yes.
Okay.
Will maybe somebody's healthcare provider argue with me that that's not possible? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of what fuels me is because people need to know, like, there are options that can help that don't require prescription medications. And if you're passionate about that and doing that without prescription medication, then great. Like, there are answers. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it should go without saying, if you've listened to our podcast, even the previous episodes, we're not anti-medicine entirely.
Oh, no, completely.
There's a time and a place for it, but unfortunately, this is one of those issues and one of those times where it's not the appropriate approach, especially when there are approaches where there is substantial and sufficient evidence showing that a natural approach can take care of it, can fix it, So tell us a little bit about that process, how you kind of stumbled on that, or how you figured it out. How did you figure out that there was an approach that would work?
Well, I a lot of research, obviously. I'm a chiropractor and a doctor, obviously very nerdy. So I like to read research. I like to look into things. And so I did a lot of searching, specifically because of how things were with Preston, with our first. And then I started using these things, right? I just started using them in practice. I started using different techniques, different supplements, if you will, therapies. And I'd have parents come in and
so when you say techniques, we're talking different manual techniques using hands-on therapies.
Like stuff that parents can do. This is stuff like, I'm a chiropractor and I'm trained in this, but this is stuff like manual therapies that parents can actually do at home. Right?
So specific types of massage?
Yeah, so it includes massage, acupressure. So acupressure, which is like acupuncture without the needles, right?
Sure.
So acupressure and massage, those two combined.
So if we were to describe this to parents, because I know that there's no possible way that you're going to be able to go through all the details of everything on this episode, but just in general, helping parents understand applying specific pressure in certain areas in a certain way, similar to massage, similar to pressure point therapy, at certain times. Would that be an accurate way of describing it?
Yeah. That's actually what I really like about your podcast and how you talk about things is you're very good at kind of taking like the big picture.
Sure.
Saying, here's what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Giving people a little bit more clarity on that. So parents who are listening here. Okay. So using manual therapies, hands-on therapies to help. And then you talked about some nutritional therapies that you'll utilize as well.
Yeah. So the hands-on therapies is something that parents can do immediately, like right away. And nutritional therapies, meaning like I developed a cookbook specifically to help eliminate specific allergens that actually make colic worse.
So something you shared with me a while ago, and this is a good segue maybe into that. You said cookbook. For those listening, they're like, well, what do you mean? A baby's breastfeeding, at that age. So what's the deal? You're not going to be feeding these things to the baby, so why a cookbook, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's kind of one of the biggest ahas that I had, at least when we talked about this before, because we've talked about this at length in terms of that. And so what would you say about that? Why a cookbook?
Well, it's interesting because colic is with the baby, right? We look at colic as, oh, it's the baby. We need to do something for the baby. We need to fix something with the baby. We need to give the baby this or that. But we also need to look at, where does baby receive their nutrients from?
Right.
And not only that, it's not just if they're breastfeeding, because then if parents are like, oh, well, I'm not, or if mom's like, I'm not breastfeeding, well, that's part of it.
Right. It's not just that.
It's not just that. It's their surroundings, like their entire surroundings. The environment especially. And there was research that showed that babies in a stressful environment, it actually changes their DNA. And it's crazy because if we can just change the stress in their environment alone, not just for them, but also for mom
and dad even
and
too.
Dad as well.
Right.
Yeah. But for mom, if she's, it's been said, you are what you eat.
Right.
But you are what you ate.
Right.
If that makes sense. Right.
So for those breastfeeding, right, what mom is eating, it's going to transfer over. And I think sometimes moms to a degree get that.
Sure.
Like, for instance, when you hear like these examples of like, I can't eat spicy food because that'll, transfer via the breast milk to the baby and things like that. But wasn't there something as well in terms of like, there have been studies where even like skin to skin contact, if the mother has a heightened level of stress in terms of like elevated cortisol, that has an impact on the baby as well. Weren't you saying that? Something like that?
Well, yeah. Actually, the skin to skin contact decreases the cortisol levels for baby and for mom.
Okay.
And so it's like, that's one thing where skin to skin, if you can get baby skin to skin with mom, that actually helps bring their cortisol levels, their stress levels down.
Sure.
As well. Yeah.
So we've got supplements, we've got dietary modifications. What would be some of the dietary modifications you would tell them right now that you could immediately like say, just as a rule of thumb, I say in general, these are the types of recommendations that I would make?
Yeah. Immediately eliminate dairy. Okay. And that's a hard thing for people. I mean, moms, when I say eliminate dairy, I mean, I can't tell you how many moms are like, no, I don't like, that's cheese. That's yogurt. That's ice cream. Like you need to read labels. And honestly, it's going to force you to eat more raw foods, like natural foods, and not as processed. So number one, that is by far the number one thing. And within a period of 2 weeks, you should see a change.
Huge difference there.
Yeah. And that's just part of it, because those parents who do that and they're like, okay, I see no difference. Okay. That's fine. Then we continue on, because there's more than just, it's just milk. That's not just dairy. Right? Yeah. So eliminating milk, if that doesn't work, eggs, and then even citrus. Those are offenders for breastfeeding.
Okay.
So
that makes sense. So then making those dietary changes, implementing the hands-on therapies, what are some of the nutritional therapies that you recommend? You'd said probiotics. Is that part of it?
Yeah, probiotics are really good. And it, when it comes to probiotics, people can go to Walmart and get probiotics, but like it's really specific strains of probiotic, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really important for people to know, is that it's
not just the strain, but also the potency as well.
Right, like concentration.
Right.
Exactly. And so it's not just, hey, go down to your Walmart or go down to Target or Costco and get a probiotic or even omega. And omega-3 is helpful in reducing stress and inflammation. Don't just go get those. There are certain dosages that need to be followed to really get the best benefit.
Sure.
But probiotic, the omegas, there's also another one for babies that helps with the brain-body connection that I really recommend. Is DHA. But again, that's also one that should not just be, you can't just go out and buy that because of the potential for toxicity in there.
And one of the things that we stress in this podcast as well that we've talked about before is that far too often people will try various strategies as a panacea, right? I'll extract this one thing,
Sure.
and I'm going to try that one thing, and then maybe I'll try this thing, and then I'll try this one thing, and I'll try this one thing, and very rarely does that get the desired result that we're looking for. Typically, the solution is far more comprehensive than that, or a far more comprehensive approach is required. And so for those parents who are listening who are like, I've already tried that. Yes, but have you tried everything together as a comprehensive solution? And that's kind of the cool thing. You've developed an entire program to help parents. Maybe we'll do a quick plug for the program, and I'm not getting any sort of cut from this. I'm just saying it's a great program that you developed. Maybe introduce that and tell parents a little bit about that.
I mean, I think you hit it on the head. It's like you can extract different things and just say, hey, use this, like eliminate dairy and use a probiotic and then use an omega. But it's a matter of not just using a product. It's using a solution. Yeah. Right. That's like proven and that has been proven to show that you can actually change things, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, I have a program for parents that have babies that struggle with colic. It's called Colic Relief Secrets, and that program is specifically like the whole program is laid out where there's supplementation for mom, there's supplementation for baby. We go through like what to take and when,
what to do, how to do it.
Like we talked about AccuSage. Something that I developed it's called Baby Soothe.
Okay.
And Baby Soothe is an essential oil blend that is specific. It's the right essential oils in the right concentration. It's concentrated so in the sense,
along with a guide as well. If they do that, that'll show them the proper application of it, where to apply it, how to apply it, when to apply it, et cetera, all that stuff.
Yeah. So, and the thing with this is like it's all safe and effective for babies. There's no potential that this baby might have 200% increase in allergies and asthma or something like that later down the road. Like that's actual research, like 200% increase in those things from the medications that are being used for babies right now for colic.
Yeah. And that's the real frustration is that you're talking about a relatively short period of time, and you're talking about a hefty toll that they're going to pay the rest of their life. And that's not to make parents feel bad who have used medication. I can't blame them. And we're not going to create some sort of a stigma there. But what you've provided here for parents is a better approach, So if parents who are listening, they're like, okay, that's fine, that's great. How do I get this? What do I need to do? Like if they're kind of more of a cut to the chase already.
Okay. Yeah. What is it?
Get to the point. What's the point? How do they get this?
Well, what we did is just because I have kids and I know that it's like, what will help me, right? Like immediately what will help me right away. And so if parents go to colicreliefsecrets.com, they can get a bottle of the Baby Soothe blend, the essential oil blend. They can get that for free. Okay. They just cover shipping and handling, but they can get that at their door. I mean, we expedite shipping for each order just so they can get it as soon as possible to start seeing the changes in their baby.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you can get a free bottle of Baby Soothe. You guys just cover the shipping and handling. Go to colicreliefsecrets.com. We'll make sure we put that in the show notes. So you guys can get that. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? I mean, so we've talked quite a bit kind of about, the approach that you use. We've talked a little bit about Colic itself, kind of your story. Anything else that we're missing here that you want to add into it?
No, I think it's just important that parents give themselves some credit, right? They give themselves credit for what they're doing, parents struggling right now. It doesn't help anything to be hard on themselves.
To beat yourself up.
Yeah. And if you've used medication for your baby, okay. Well, maybe there's another way, right? And so that's an opportunity. And I'm like you, I'm not opposed to using medication. It's just a matter of like, is there something that we can do before that?
Right.
And so I just say, like, for any parents out there, just don't be hard on yourself. And we're all doing our best, man. Like, no matter which way we're doing it, we're all trying for the same goal.
Yeah, exactly. Your intentions are the same. You want to help your baby. I would venture a guess to say that just about 99.9% of parents out there, at least we hope, love their children, and they want what's best for them, and they want them to be happy, and they don't want them to be crying and struggling with all these different things. And so exactly like you said, I think they're just trying the best they can. And so that's the exciting thing about what you've created here, is it gives parents an opportunity to get their children, their babies, the help that they need, and not have to resort to some of these dangerous and quite oftentimes harmful medications that so often, unfortunately, they feel like are their only option, So anyways, that's awesome, man. The program's amazing. I've seen it. and I've seen the results that he's been able to get with his patients. Dr. Ogle, he actually practices not too far from us. Mm-hmm. And so it's neat to be able to see that and hear the stories, hear the success stories, and see the success stories of parents whose lives have been changed because their children's lives have been changed as a result of the program. So appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
You bet, man.
I know you're off to another appointment here. So thanks for being on the show, and thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully this has been valuable for you guys. If you know parents who have children who are struggling with colic, share this episode with them. Let them know that there are definitely solutions out there for them. There are answers, and Dr. Ogle has generously provided a way for you guys to get a bottle to try of the baby soothe oil. So thanks, guys. Have an awesome day. We'll talk to you later.
Right. We'll see you.
Thanks for listening to the Health Fundamentals Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so that you stay in the loop and in the know with all of the cutting-edge health information that we share. If you know other people that could benefit from this information, please share it with them as well. Also, be sure to give us a review. These really help us to ultimately help more people. Last but not least, if you have questions that you want answered live on the show, or if you have ideas for topics that you would like us to cover, please shoot us an email and let us know at info@thehealthfundamentals.com.